My guest on the show today is Heather Evans. She is a singer, songwriter, recording artist, and today we're going to be talking about how you can get started with sync licensing. Now, this is getting your songs into TV shows, movies, commercials, and if you've ever wondered how that even works and how to get started, we're going to give you a quick crash course in this episode. And I just invited Heather to come on and talk about her experience getting TV placements and what that process looks like, and just give you some encouragement and advice if this is something that you'd like to look into with your own original music. So Heather, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Lydia. I'm so thrilled to be here and excited to share a little bit of my knowledge with your listeners.
Yes, it's so amazing to me to see all the different opportunities in the music industry. And the more I learn, the more amazed I am at how many ways you can use original music. And as creative people, there are lots of ways that we can put our music out there, even if someone's a songwriter, but not necessarily the artist, even if they're a composer and don't write lyrics, even if they're not touring because they're at home taking care of babies, which is my life and your life. I
My
actually
life.
found Heather because she released a song that she wrote called Mom Life. And I recently, in the last year, recorded a new song that I wrote called Mom Life. Totally different songs, but I found her because of that title, then listened to her music and saw what she was up to and thought, wow, she'd be a great person to be on the show. And now she's here. So I'm so excited to dive in. Would you give us a quick intro? Let me know, like,
Yes.
what's your story getting started with music and
Okay.
songwriting? What did that look
Oh,
like for you?
geez. Okay, let's take it back. Let's take it
Taking
back
it
to the
way
beginning.
back.
Um, 13 years old, I had been writing poetry, putting it in journals, and I got a guitar. And actually my sister was learning to play guitar, and as a competition, I decided I wanted to play guitar. If my sister's playing guitar, I'm going to learn to play guitar. She ended up not sticking with guitar, but I stuck with it. And I ended up taking a lot of the poetry that I was writing and putting them into songs. And it was a good way for me, just like therapy for me, to get out some of my emotions. I was very shy
Yes.
back then. I was very um, introverted and, I don't know, insecure about myself. Like,
Same, which is so funny now because here we
yeah,
are on a podcast and
I
like
know. What are we
putting out
doing?
videos and songs and stuff.
Right?
You would never know, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's just rough being 13 or being a
it
teenager
is.
in general.
Oh my gosh. I listened to my Michelle Branch and all these Vanessa Carlton, all these young singer songwriters. I was listening to them and I'm like, I want to do that. Like, I think I could do this. And so my dad is the cutest. He's the biggest supporter of me. At 15 years old, he got me studio time for my 15th birthday. And I ended up recording the songs that I'd been writing in my little journals. I recorded 3 songs, and the studio that I was working with at the time, they were like, these are actually really good. We would love if you would continue recording here, and we'll kind of help you with your music career and stuff. And so we made friends with the studio owner, Rick Green, and I ended up cleaning the studio for studio time.
Oh,
So
good swap.
funny. Yeah, I was like, because my parents owned a cleaning company. And so I was cleaning their studio for studio time. And
Love
I
it.
ended up having a full length album by the time I was 17.
That's a
And
lot of cleaning.
yeah, a lot of cleaning. And the studio manager, he ended up uh, sending my songs to this A&R company called Taxi Music.
Yeah.
And they're like the go-between that help connect you to music supervisors, which are the people that find music for TV shows, and music licensing agents. They're the ones who pitch your songs to the music supervisors. They help you connect you to gatekeepers in the
Hmm.
industry. And so I got connected with some really amazing music supervisors through that CD when I was 17 years old, just a
Wow.
fresh little teenager. My songs ended up being on MTV's Laguna Beach, like 2 of my songs on
That's
MTV's Laguna
amazing.
Beach in a prime time spot, not just in the background. It was like a montage scene. Um, and here I am watching this show that I actually loved. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm watching the
That
show
makes
that's
it so much
actually
better if you
on.
actually like the show.
I'm like, dang it. And I was in Ohio at this time. Okay. So I'm in California now, but I was in Ohio at that time. Um, and oh my gosh. So that started then. After that situation, I got connected with another music supervisor who worked on oh gosh, I think it's the Noggin show, Nickelodeon's teen
Mm-hmm.
channel Noggin.
Yeah.
South of Nowhere. I had 3 songs on that show. And honestly, those songs being on those shows really catapulted my music career, if you will, at a
Sure.
young age, where people were emailing me. I was selling out of CDs. Like, it really set my music career on like a pretty strong trajectory, you know? And I was only 17, 18. I don't think I knew how to handle it very well. I'm not going to lie, but oh well. And, but it was
But
just
that's
really
really
cool.
inspiring to keep making music, and you
Confirming.
got success right away with some of your
Yep,
first recordings.
exactly. And I'm like, now that I listen to them, Lydia, I'm like, please, nobody go back and listen to those songs.
That's hilarious.
Y'all are going to look up my maiden name now. Okay. But I mean, you got to start somewhere. They're really good, like poppy.
Yeah, and that's probably perfect for TV, and what they wanted was something
They
young
were
and
like
fresh.
breakup songs. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. So great.
That's so
But
funny. So talk
yeah,
to
that
me
was the
about, like,
beginning.
yeah, so how has your songwriting evolved over time? Do you think, like, just writing about your life and things that you go through has been how
Yes.
you've learned to change, and, like, how your style has evolved over time?
Okay. That is the question. So a little bit, it's a little bit of everything. I don't even know how to answer that question. But I think something that I realized about um, writing music and music licensing is it has to come from an authentic place. So
Right.
definitely writing from those places of experience from an authentic place, but also uh, writing music in such a way that it fits the scene, that
Mm-hmm.
your music is a character in whatever you're adding to. So some songs that I do, like I just released a song called We're Going Down. It's a very dark, cinematic, epic. It's almost like a song you would hear in a trailer. And there's very minimalistic lyrics, but
Mm-hmm.
whenever they're in there, it's like high impact. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
gotcha.
Um, and so I wrote that song in such a way that it's like the lyrics are, because I'm like, this is the quarantine, right? So I was writing from a place of just like feeling really scared of the unknown as a
Mm-hmm.
musician and as a creative. The lyrics are do you dare to follow me down, head into the unknown, down the rabbit hole, where it stops no one knows. And then it's like we're going down. And that's
Mm-hmm.
like literally the lyrics of the song.
Yeah,
But
but it
it
captures that emotion.
of like falling down and sinking down. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's one thing I've learned is like, hey, I wrote that from a really serious place of what I'm going through, but it also will fit into the uh what would the word be? Like the
Into the
format,
structure
into
that
the
they need it.
structure,
Yeah,
into the format of a trailer. You know what I mean?
gotcha. Hmm.
So,
So you're writing it with that intention, even though it does
yeah.
have that human element of your experience in your life. You're thinking, how could this be used in a movie? What
Yeah.
would they put this in a scene for?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going on when they're
And
listening to this?
dynamics. Yeah. They're usually looking for dynamics. Like if especially if it's a there's different like montage is usually a montage scene is usually full lyrics, like the full song. So that could be anything that you write from your heart, like
Hmm.
emotional, um, you know, gosh, I'm trying to think. So
Like a
like,
ballad.
like back in the Laguna Beach days, there was a breakup scene and they used my song, Am I Over You? And it was this like, dynamic moment where this person is letting go and saying, Am I over you? Like, I don't know if I can get over this. Like,
Hmm.
you know, and so those montage moments are like meant to be those heart wrenching, usually start off soft and build towards the end, like epic build at the end.
Like, it keeps building the entire
Yeah,
time.
because have you
Yeah.
seen like Grey's Anatomy and stuff where
Right, and so
this, like,
emotional. Yeah.
serious sad moment and then the person dies and then they're running down the hall and
And it's
usually
slow motion. Yeah,
yeah
and it's
at
just
the
like so
end
sad.
of that montage scene, they're going to the end credits too. So
Mm.
uh thinking about the different types of songs they use, a lot of times there's instrumentals. So if you are a composer, like you said earlier, if you
Yeah,
only
even if you're not a lyricist.
they need honestly more instrumental music. Usually, okay, so in a show, there's at least like 60 to 80 times where they need different music. It's insane. And depending on the show, it could be more, it could be less. But if you listen to any TV show, you will hear transitions like crazy with music,
Hmm.
building it, bringing it down, building it, bringing it down. So there's room for all different types of music. The
Yes.
coolest thing is too, my friend today, I just got an email from a music library that I get emails from, and the heading was swampy bluesy country music. That was the heading. And then I opened it up and I was reading through the type of music that they needed, and they needed, oh my gosh, there was all different categories of different music they needed for that one show. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't have any of that. But my friend, who is a bluesy, swampy, like Louisiana type artist,
Hmm.
uh, would be perfect for this show. So I'm going to forward this to her and have her submit. She legit submitted today and got it. So
That
I'm
is
just like,
like today.
today. And she's very specific, right? Like
Yeah,
her
it's
music is
very,
very
very niche.
pinpointed. It's
Yeah.
niche. Yeah. And so
But it's exactly what they were looking for
it's
literally
what they
today.
needed. Yeah. So really, at the end of the day, there's no rhyme or reason to it. You have to just write music that's authentic. And when those opportunities come up, you
Hmm.
can jump on them. And the way that you look for those opportunities is start following music supervisors, start following TV shows that have your type of music, and do your research. There's this really cool site called, oh goodness, oh, I'm going to
Is
mess
it
it up.
Tune Find? That's
Tune
one that I
Find.
heard
Yeah,
about.
Tune Find and iSpot, I think is what it is. But you can find out the music that's getting used in TV shows and ads and things like that by going on those websites. You'll see the complete artist list,
Hmm.
and you could say, oh, I have hip hop music. I'm going to research some shows that are heavy in hip hop. And actually, there's a lot out there. If you're a hip hop artist listening, get on
Yeah.
it, jump on it. Um,
But any genre,
country,
really, any
country,
type of.
there's a lot of like niche country
Hmm.
that need just specifically country and pop and singer songwriter, all old. They a lot of times they're looking for like vintage 70s type stuff. So it's like they're looking for everything. So anyone can do music licensing, really, as long as your music is solid and high
Like well
quality,
produced, good quality. That's
broadcast quality. That's a
yeah.
word you will hear a lot in music licensing. Is your music needs to be broadcast quality. You need to have, now write this down if you're listening right now.
Yeah.
You
What are
need
the
to have
specifics? Give me the
you
specs.
here's what you need. If you're emailing a music supervisor, the person that's looking for the songs and the TV shows, you need to have all of the versions of your songs ready to go. So when you record with your producer, do not just get the one version. You need your instrumental. You need um, just your vocals. So have them bounce down just your vocals. So check this out. So if they're trying to mix a scene and they want to bring just your vocals down, but they want to keep the production, you
Hmm.
know, at a certain level, they can bring just your vocals down if they have that, uh,
So they need the
acapella
separate
track.
tracks and not
Yeah.
just the one complete
Yeah.
song, but
So
several versions
complete
of that.
song, acoustic vocals, or, acapella vocals,
Hmm.
the instrumental. They may even ask for some other stems. So just be ready. Uh, Stems are things like drums and bass,
Separate
piano,
instruments.
guitar. Uh, so they might ask for some of those things, and so you want to be ready. Have it in a Dropbox folder with all of your versions and your lyrics. You need your lyric sheets. You need all the things, that.
Yeah, let's talk about that because that does get confusing for songwriters, and I know that it's important. I've
Yeah.
been researching music libraries, and a lot of times
Yep.
they want to make sure that it's copyrighted, that it's pre-cleared, meaning all the co-writers or anybody that's been a part of the song
Yep.
has given permission to use this
Mm-hmm.
so they can use it quickly. So if
Yep.
you're the songwriter and you've recorded it and you own everything, then you can just give
You're good to
permission. But
go.
if you
You're
have any
one stop.
co-writers, yeah, it's called a one stop. When it's just you can give it the go and they can use it right away. But if not, you have to go through that and make sure that any writers are okay with you pitching it
Yep.
and that they're giving permission for it to be used. So can we talk about that a little bit, about like
Absolutely.
pre-clearing and what kind of paperwork you need ahead of time to be ready?
Honestly, it's not a big deal to have co-writers, but just make sure you're writing with co-writers that are on the same page and they're okay with you owning the master to be able to like pitch it. Do you know what I mean? Or
Mm-hmm.
you co-own the master and you have a written agreement saying, if Heather pitches it, great. If I pitch it, great.
Yeah,
You're
and that
both on
written
the same
agreement
sheet.
could be like a one sheet just saying we
Yep.
wrote this song together and this is how we're okay with using it, and just have a
Yep.
sign and
And
date,
it's great. And
keep a
even it
record
can be
of
a
it.
text message. It can
Okay,
be a
something in writing.
save something in writing, an email. Um, I have a couple co-writers that we basically just split everything 50-50.
Yeah.
And I just so I have a couple music licensing agencies. Agencies are different than a music library. So an agency will pitch to music libraries and they'll pitch to music supervisors and things like that to get your songs out there. But so I'll tag my co-writer on an email and say, you know, here's all the things. I wrote the song 50%. He wrote the song 50%. We're splitting the master 50%. Everything's, 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And
that way,
normally
and then
whoever
we
pays for the
sign our
recording
paperwork
owns
and
it.
everything.
So
Yes.
usually, like if you're the artist, you're paying for the recording time and you
Yep.
get the masters, you own the masters, which
Mm-hmm.
is really important because you can get paid royalties as the recording copyright owner, which is an
Yes.
additional royalty. Let's talk about royalties real quick, because when
Yep.
you do get a placement, there are the upfront sync fees, which is
Yep.
whatever they decide to pay you, whatever the standard rate is. But then once your song gets picked up on a TV show or on a commercial, you get a royalty every time that is played. So if you're the
Yep.
songwriter, you get the
Awesome.
songwriting royalty. If you're the publisher, which
You get
you
the
own your own publishing
publishing.
unless you write it over to somebody else, like in a
Yep.
publishing deal, then you would own your own publishing and get a royalty for that. You would also, if you are the artist, you can get an artist royalty, performance royalty is what it's
Yep.
called. And
Mm-hmm.
then the fourth royalty would be the recording copyright owner. So you are getting multiple pieces of the pie, which normally go through
Yeah,
like a
you
record
are.
label. But if you're an independent musician, you are entitled to all of those royalties, which could really add up over
Yes, they
time.
can.
So talk to me about that. What has your experience been
Oh,
as far as
okay.
like how all of that actually pans out?
Okay, so if you're just beginning with all this, the first step is to sign up with a performance rights organization. And that's different than copywriting your songs.
Mm-hmm.
Performance rights organization is someone like ASCAP or BMI. I have ASCAP and I love it. They're really easy to
I'm with
use.
ASCAP
And
too. Yeah, it's
yeah.
been great for
And
me too.
so, yeah, you just register your songs individually and it'll ask you who's the songwriter, who's the publisher. And I signed up for a publishing thing too. It's just Heather Evans Music. That's my publishing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Heather Lynn Evans, the songwriter, and then Heather Evans Music, the publisher. And so that way you can collect both. You want to collect your
Yes.
publishing and your songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, whatever co-writer you have on that song, that you add them into and whatever their publishing is. And if you're the performer of the song, you write that in that you're the performer. And then whatever music licensing agency or library that you're signed to, you will get paid through that performance rights organization. So you'll also get an upfront sync fee. Like they'll pay you maybe $5,000 upfront to pay you for the song, for being on the show for like 20 seconds or something. I don't know. However long, maybe it's longer, and you get a bigger sync fee. I've heard of people in TV shows getting $35,000 TV syncs. And then of course they have to split that with the co-writer, but who cares? That's still a lot of money.
Yeah. And for one placement, the song could be used in other placements as well. So
I'll take it. You know what I'm talking about? Any of it. I'll take any of it. And then some shows, so check this out too. If you're doing a lot of instrumental things, I found that you get paid instrumentally a lot more on the back end. It's really interesting. Like some companies maybe won't pay you an out-front sync fee for those like little tiny instrumentals, but you'll get the back end on that forever. So that's still worthwhile too. I just do all of it. I don't ask questions. I'm just like, yep, let's do it. Let's go.
The answer is yes.
It needs to go.
Yeah, and then create more music and then put that out there.
Here's the other thing too, Lydia. I'm so glad you said that. So a lot of people get hung up on exclusive versus non-exclusive. So exclusive is that song is locked in with that one company. You cannot pitch it to other companies to, pitch to TV shows and things. It's locked in with that one company. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. So there's also the non-exclusive option, where I'm signed with 3 non-exclusives and 1 exclusive company. And I'm kind of seeing how they both do. Mm-hmm. And the nice thing though, that if you do place a couple songs exclusively with the company, don't fret about it, because you can always write another song. There's always an opportunity to record another song that you can place with another company. I'm like, there's endless. People get really hung up though on the exclusive thing. And I'm like, just create more music. Don't worry about it, Yeah,
I've noticed that too, because if you agree to do exclusive on one site and you can't put it in another music library, you might feel like you're missing opportunities where it might get pitched to another another opportunity and miss out on that. So I can see how.
Here's the deal though. My exclusive agency has worked harder for me than my non-exclusives. So that's the benefit.
And it can pay higher, right? Because it's not being used in lots of different places. And so it's fresh music. It's new. It's high end.
Yep. So my exclusive agency, they've gotten my songs on So You Think You Could Dance, Dancing with the Stars Jr., Disney's Fairy Tale Weddings. I don't know, another one. But they've really made things happen. And so that's the benefit.
So they have more incentive because there's more on the table.
Yep. So
as far as looking for music agencies, would you research and look at like music agencies for specific styles, like the style that you want to do or the type of shows that you want to be on? What does that look like as far as doing your research to find an agency?
I do so much research. So researching is really good. Another really good thing to do is go to panels. There's a lot of Zoom panels right now for music licensing. If you just look it up, like the Guild of Music Supervisors is doing free panels right now with music supervisors on TV shows. Mm-hmm. And you can create direct relationships with supervisors even without even having a music licensing agent. So that could be one avenue, is just going into those Guild of Music Supervisors, getting to know them, follow them on social media. Don't be sleazy though. Create relationships with people first. Don't ask for anything. Just be like, oh dude, I love that show. The music is killer. Like, start relationships with people, dialogue.
Real conversation. Yeah.
And don't be too hungry. People can see through
Yeah.
that. They can see through your weirdness. So just be like casual. And I also, back before COVID-19, I was going to so many conventions and music licensing, uh, all sorts of conferences and things. I mean, I went to CD Baby DIY Musician Conference. They
Mm-hmm.
had a music licensing panel there. I went to Durango Songwriting. Amazing. They had all sorts of music supervisors there. The Taxi Music Convention, which if you're a member with Taxi Music, you get into for free. Um, and I have connected with so many people through that it's been amazing. And I mean, that's how I met the music licensing or the music library guy that I got my friend her song sent over to him, and creating relationships with people. I think that's the key thing in this industry, is creating
Mm-hmm.
those relationships. Don't just cold email people uh, stuff that they don't need. You need to be able to meet the need of the music supervisor you are messaging. Like one time, check this out. This is a really good story. I I'm so crazy. I do cold email people, but I know what they're looking for ahead of time to see if I can meet that need for them.
That's smart.
So
You do
I
your research.
researched, yeah, I researched this music licensing agency that I've been trying to get in with, and I'm still trying, but closer. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Relationships.
Yeah.
This music licensing agency, I saw that they had this show that they were getting music for, that I was like, this show would be perfect for the song I just released. So
Mm-hmm.
I emailed the lady. I actually didn't know what her email was, but I knew her name and I knew the company, and I figured it out. I was like, okay,
It's probably her name at thatcompany.com.
yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like just figure out different combinations, and
Yeah.
it totally worked. And then in the title I said music for the show that
Mm.
she was doing music on.
Yeah.
And she opened the email, sent it to all her people too, and said, we're not signing artists at this time, but get back in touch with me at the beginning of the year, or whatever, and then we'll see if we can get something going then.
Yeah. So that's an
And
amazing
so,
connection to
yeah,
even
to
have
even
that
cold
message. Yeah.
email and then they get back to me and forward
Yeah.
it to everybody, which I'm like, I look up to all those people. Oh my gosh.
That's amazing.
Geeking out.
Yeah.
And I was also in a class with an amazing music supervisor through, look this up, Sync Summit. They're on Facebook. They have a Facebook group you can jump into, and they do chats with all different music supervisors, and really great. And so I did the class that they put on a few months ago during quarantine with my favorite music supervisor. What's his name? Chris Malaire. And like Chris Malaire, he did Pretty Little Liars, Vampire Diaries. He's doing Roswell right now. All these like teen dramas that are like dark, you know?
Yeah. So
And
your song that you just put out, We're Going Down, would be perfect for something like that.
I got to show it to him. I got to, in the class, like, we got to do a scene from Roswell. Put our song into
Oh,
the
wow.
show. He gave
So
us
you used it for that.
I did. And he was
Oh,
like,
perfect.
this is awesome. I'm like, I know. And we're like buddies now, though.
Mhm.
Through that class, we're friends on social media. We're constantly like, you know, talking to each other. And he knows who I am. I know who he is. And
Mhm.
that's like a common relationship. You know what I mean? Or it's like,
Yeah.
it's a relationship thing. It's not like, you know, I'm trying to bug him every 2 minutes.
It's a friendship, and then when he needs something specific, he knows what style you do.
Evans. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's so
And he
awesome.
knows I'm easy to work with and can get
Mhm.
things done quick. And yeah, it's just
That makes a big difference when people have deadlines and when they're looking for something specific and they want somebody that
Yep.
will follow through and send them what they need so
Yep.
that they can get those placements done. So
I think that's key, is sending people what they need,
Yeah. So
especially in
being
this industry.
prepared on the front end and having what they need, like you said, an instrumental
Yeah.
version. Um, what would you say about having a variety of duration, like clips that people could use for a 30-second clip, or, you know,
Oh,
5 minutes long? Like, do you have a strategy for doing a certain length of time?
uh, okay. So Chris Malaire told me this in our class. He said it's always better to give people more to work with because they can edit and give them a lot of options. And that's why dynamic is really key in songs. You might want a down chorus, you need an up chorus, you need a super giant chorus, uh, you need a simplistic whatever part. The dynamics are everything because they can edit in and out. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they do a lot of they have music editors on shows and movies and things, and the music editor will chop up your songs, you know. But if you are writing for ads, that's a whole nother conversation for another
Right, an
day.
ad might be 15
Ads
seconds, 30
needs to
seconds. You have to
be
have a lot going on in a short
a
amount of
lot in a
time.
very short amount of time. And just watch commercials and see the format. That's what you do, is just learn by, doing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Watch a commercial, see the arcs and see how fun and playful they are. Sometimes they'll have, like, especially right now, there's a lot of somber. It's like
Yeah.
just piano. You'll just hear piano. You don't need
Mm-hmm.
anything else. And maybe a very soft vocal, um, with a
Yeah.
simple lyric, and that's it.
Well, yeah, one reason I asked that is because I have a song that I wrote called Changing Diapers and Changing the World.
Oh
And
my
it's about being a
Send it
mom, and it's
Can you
so
send that to
sweet.
Pampers or
I
Huggies?
know, like it should be in a Huggies
Send it to
commercial, and I'm
them.
just putting it out there. I'm gonna send it to them because I can just hear that little intro. It's just like an instrumental intro, and then that
Stop
hook
it.
line says changing diapers and changing the world. And it's
I have
so,
goosebumps.
so sweet. Like I would love to see that in a diaper
You
campaign.
know what you can do, Lydia, that I did? Okay.
Tell me
You
all the
can look.
secrets.
Okay, this is insider knowledge. People think I'm crazy, but they know I get it done, and it's so funny. uh, you can cold email the people that run the ad campaign. You can look up what's
Would it
the
be the creative director
ad
of the
company?
company?
The ad company, not even Pampers. The
Okay,
people that works on the ads for Pampers. So
gotcha.
just Google uh ad company for Pampers, and then you can email, yeah, again, whoever the like creative director or producer of the
Right.
video
I'm sure
are.
commercials are a little different. With film, they do have a music supervisor, but for ads,
Yeah,
they might
it's
have like
something
a
different. I forget
overall
what it
creative
is.
or something.
It's something, yeah, but just look into whoever actually produces the ads and things.
Mm-hmm.
And you can be like, I think this would be perfect for a commercial. I did that recently. Okay, this is a success story. I did
Yay.
that with my quarantine collection.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up hospitals because a lot of the songs were about healthcare heroes and workers
Mm.
and things.
Yeah.
And um, I was just like, oh my gosh, I should try to get a hold of the companies that do the ads for the hospitals and that are geared towards healthcare.
Yeah.
And I did that. And one of the guys got back to me, was like, this is phenomenal. Is it okay if I share this with the team? And I'm like, sure. So
Absolutely.
you don't know what that cold email will do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have to get over ourselves sometimes. I think we get stuck in a lot of fear, or fear of the unknown, or fear that we'll do the wrong thing. But you don't know what is waiting for you behind that door if you just step out and get past your fear, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I love that you brought that up because a lot of people hold themselves back from even trying because
yes.
either we might not know what the process is like and we want to understand it all before we even start.
Yep.
And I'm learning that you can only understand it by doing and by
Mm-hmm.
trying it out and by, actually signing up for these music libraries, actually submitting your music, and like you said,
Yes.
researching what kind of songs people are choosing,
Looking for, yeah.
see what they're looking for, and then meet
Meet the
that
need.
need. And
Mm-hmm.
so you're doing something, it is creative, but it's also very strategic.
Very
to put your
strategic.
music in the right place where people are looking, and it's
Yep.
much more likely to get a placement that way because people know where to look. And like we said earlier, if it's a pre-cleared song and it's available in the duration that they need at the quality that they need, it's much more
Yep.
likely for them to pick it up and run with it. So you're making it easy for the ones that are choosing the music.
Yep. It's amazing. And I think that uh, people want independent artists more than ever because they can't get Lady Gaga and they can't get Mumford and Sons or whoever the big name is for things because it costs too much money. You know, I I was listening to Rob Lowry. He is the supervisor on The Bold Type. And he was saying they got Taylor Swift for an episode and it was a huge deal, but it like crushed their budget. And I mean, they had like a third of the budget left after they
Yeah.
used that one song. So they want innovative singer songwriters and hip hop artists and country music, everything. They want it all.
Yeah, and
Independent is best right now.
I think so. And just to be able to be flexible and have someone that can like own the majority of the song or own the recording also, because then you don't have to go through as many hoops to get the
Yep.
song actually used. And so I think it's an amazing opportunity for independent artists, especially
Oh,
if they
absolutely.
can't tour or if, you know, they're home raising their kids, they can still pitch a few songs a month or, you know, pitch a
It's
little
like,
bit. I mean, it adds up over time, and
yeah,
it can really just take one song that really
it
goes
takes one
off.
song.
Yeah.
And the thing that people don't realize is one ad could be $250,000 or, you know, anywhere from 80 to $250,000 or more. It just depends, you know? And then they have huge budgets on those things. It's insane. I'm like, that's mind blowing to me. And then
Yeah, so if your
same
music
with
is the right
a
fit for
trailer.
that, they have
Yeah.
the budget for the music. And that's a huge
Yep.
part of creating that emotion that makes their customer want to buy their product.
Thank
So you
you.
are giving so much value to them
Yep.
through the music, and you will get paid well for it, which I love, because if musicians are trying to get paid from streams of their own music, of
Takes
being the artist
forever.
and putting out there, it takes so much and it does get discouraging. But this is something like literally today you got a placement for your friend, and it does not take months and months or years and years to
Just
see
have to meet
results
the
from it.
need. You just have to
You
meet
can
the need.
literally start today.
And another thing too, trailers 80,000 to 150,000, you know, for like a movie trailer.
Yeah, would you just look
And
up
I
a
know
rate?
people,
Like, could
I
you
know
look up a
people
standard rate
have done that.
for what they normally charge, like industry
Um,
standard?
it really differs from show to movie to whatever their
Gotcha.
music budget is. Basically, what Chris Malaire told me to say is, well, what's your budget? What do you have in your budget? And
Yeah,
that they
good
won't
question.
really tell you, but they'll tell you, and then you bump it up
Mm,
$1,000 or whatever, and then see if they'll come up a little bit. Because there's always a little bit of flex room that you
yeah,
can
that's
negotiate.
good negotiating. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but of course they won't tell you flat out
Like, here's the
because,
highest we can pay you. They probably won't say that, but if they give
but
you a
they'll give you a fair
ballpark,
price.
yeah.
They'll give you a fair price knowing that you're going to come back and try to bump it up a little, you know? So it's kind of crazy and it's a little bit of a game. That's why I like having music licensing agencies and agents that care about me and care about my music and understand the details a little better than me. I mean, I have a really good understanding, um, unlike I think a lot of people just starting out, but I don't know all the ins and outs. But that's where I can lean on my agent and say, even
Mhm.
if I do go get something on my own uh, from a music supervisor, I can always say, hey, reach out to my agent and work out the deal because I don't
Yeah.
understand.
That
You
is so
know?
great. Yeah,
And then
because
I
once
would
you
get the
have an
finder's
offer,
fee.
if you need, yeah, if you need somebody to help you with the details of it, if it's a big deal, you know, you want it to
I'm
be
like, I
done
don't
right.
understand. Like, whenever you get into the little idiosyncrasies of the deal, there's a lot of language in there that if you don't understand, you can screw yourself out of a lot. Like, I had no idea that there's one word that if it doesn't say for all of time, there's a word that they use that's like for all of
In
time.
perpetuity.
Perpetuity. Thank you for
Perpetuity.
knowing the word.
I was like, that's a big word.
Perpetuity. If it does not
Songwriters.
say perpetuity in there, if it only says for 5 years or whatever, you can get screwed out of so much money if you're
Yeah.
not careful. I'm like, oh,
And
I
those
didn't know
ongoing
that.
royalties.
Ongoing forever, because if it's on a streaming platform over here on Netflix, but Netflix wasn't a thing back when Laguna Beach was out. If I was not in perpetuity,
right,
then I wouldn't get the the royalties forever.
Mm-hmm.
So something that gratefully I learned in the classes that I took, but that's some of the stuff that you may not know, and that's okay. That's why you lean on people like your licensing agent, and find somebody that you trust. Do not sign with a licensing agent that's going to take huge amounts out of your cut. They will take a cut, and you're going to have to be okay with that. That's okay, because they're helping you get to the people that it needs to get to. I think people are really scared too to commit with agents because they're afraid they're going to get ripped off, which is rightly so. But there has to be that sense of trust between you. And if you have that relationship with your licensing agent, they're going to pitch you more. I talk to my licensing agents all the time, like, hey guys, what's going on? What are you pitching for? What's happening? And they'll be like, oh, I just pitched your song for this thing. Let's just hope we get it, or, whatever. And so if you just keep that good relationship, they're going to work hard for you because they don't get paid till you get paid. You know what I mean? It's like a give and
so they
take
have
relationship.
incentive.
And you should never pay up front for an agent. You should only if they get the placement for you, should you get paid, and they get paid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's so helpful. Thank you so much for sharing from your experience and just some of the basics, because it's such a great opportunity for independent artists and musicians.
Yes.
And like we said earlier, if it's a songwriter who doesn't even write lyrics but maybe composes music,
Composers
that's
are
so
huge.
valuable
right
now. And if you own your songs and can put them out there, then you are getting royalties for multiple things: the songwriting, the publishing, the recording, copyright. And so there's a lot of opportunity out there for musicians, and I want people to know how to at least get started and access that and put their songs out there to be available in these music libraries, and to do their research to figure out what type of music is being chosen and is being played on shows, so more of what to create as you're creating. I think that gives great direction, because if you know, like you said, maybe it's hip hop heavy, or maybe it's ballad heavy, and maybe it's like breaking it down to just a piano and vocal. If you know that is trending and that's what's being chosen for specific shows, you can give them more of what they're using and be more likely to have your music chosen. So it's really smart to do your research and see what's going on. Another tip that I got from a friend who does TV placements is to look up on IMDb and see who the music supervisors are, see what shows are playing different types of songs that are similar in genre or by similar artists, and follow those people on LinkedIn. Find them on Facebook, send them an email, get connected to the people who are choosing the music.
LinkedIn is huge, you guys. Do that. Follow people on LinkedIn, because that's very businessy. They'd rather be contacted on LinkedIn than Instagram, because LinkedIn is more specific to music licensing, professional. So you don't really want to be spamming them about your music stuff over on Instagram. That's bad etiquette. You want to do that on the specific channels that you
That's a good tip.
Yeah. And I actually connected with another ad guy through LinkedIn, that he ended up being I didn't even know, it was so crazy. He was my mentor at the taxi conference. And
oh, wow.
I was already following him on LinkedIn, and I was like, the night before, I'm like, hey, you're my mentor tomorrow. What up? And it was just so cool because we already had that sort of established relationship, and then we met in person, and now we like talk all the time, and he's like, whoa, that's a cool new song, you know? And so that's just, I don't know, it's a good way to connect with people, but in a professional way, you know?
Yeah, that's so good. Well, tell our listeners how they can connect with you and hear your music, how they can find you online.
Yep. So my website's just Heather Evans Music. You can find me on Instagram at Heather Evans Music. On Twitter, it's Heather Evans. And I'm trying to think what else I have. Oh, I'm on Spotify, iTunes. I am releasing so many songs right now, like at least a song or two a month. So
That's
definitely follow me on Spotify or Apple Music, wherever you listen to music. So
yes, search Heather Evans. And if you want to see that epic video we talked about earlier for the song We're Going Down, it's on your YouTube channel. I did watch it, and
it's
it is epic.
Yeah. Underwater, slow-mo scene.
With your beautiful bright red hair. Like,
insane.
It's just incredible. Like,
it is insane.
Really cinematic. Well, thank you so much for your time and for sharing some of your story and your tips. I hope that this inspires the people listening to go for it and to put their music out there, because you never know. So if someone listens to this episode and they get a placement, I want a message. So DM me, DM Heather on Instagram. Tell us if you get a placement after listening to this, because that would totally make our day. I'm sure that'd be so cool. Well, Heather, thank you so much. I'm excited for your music that you're putting out, and really appreciate you taking time to encourage other musicians, and just hope the best for you in your music career. And thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you.
If you enjoy this podcast, I want to invite you to become a patron and join our community on Patreon for Rustic Songbird. You can check out all of the details by going to patreon.com/Rustic Songbird to support this show and be a part of our Patreon community. Thanks for watching the behind the scenes of this episode of the Rustic Songbird Podcast. You can check out all of the previous podcasts by going to rusticsongbird.com/podcast for interviews with people in the music industry to encourage you and inspire you to take that next step in your music career. I appreciate you watching this video, and I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel for even more videos like this coming soon. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button and hit the bell to be notified every time we have a new video. All right, catch you next time.